Good afternoon, beloved community. I am Melissa Miller, host of The Chosen Heroes, and I thank you for joining me here this afternoon. We have a wonderful guest. Harald Brems is here to discuss with us about his role at Targeted Justice. He is the VP of Europe, and he's going to be a real treat. So I'm really looking forward to the discussion. Let's start out with the Targeted Justice newsletter for today.
It's that time again for the Targeted Justice newsletter, the video edition. May 18th, 2025. The following is an announcement from attorney Anna Toledo. Dear community, I ask that you join me today in a letter-writing campaign to Mr. Patel to demand that he discontinue, once and for all, the illegal practices consisting of maintaining the identities of non-investigative subjects on the terrorist screening database and using, applying for, and/or renewing bogus visa warrants against law-abiding citizens illegally placed on the TSDB by prior administrations. Any written demand you send Mr. Patel will enter the FBI database and will have to be produced to you in any subsequent Privacy Act/FOIA requests you make to the agency. It will establish that as of its date, you demanded that the FBI adhere to the U.S. Constitution and abstain from the illegal activity it has subjected you to for years. Please copy the draft below, adapt to your situation, and send it to Mr. Patel by means of a track U.S. Postal Service method, as well as through social media. One of the flyers recommended by Targeted Justice. When we shared this with Senate staff members, in 10 seconds they can grasp what we are talking about. Very effective. You can share this flyer with your state representatives. Have you been to your state capital or the capital of your country? We urge you to make an effort. As of 2019, FISA Court allows illegal FBI surveillance to continue, and the New York Times quotes an NSA source. There are 200,000 targeted individuals in the United States. This is very close to the number provided by Targeted Justice in 2018, when we estimated there were about 170,000 targeted individuals in the U.S. FBI Director Kash Patel quoted 278,000 illegal FISA warrants were issued in 2020. Targeted Justice estimates in 2025, there are more than 300,000 in the United States, in handling codes 3 and 4 of the TSDB. The illegal FISA warrants are issued to the FBI to conduct illegal sneak and peek operations, as well as other fusion center operations. Please help us repeal the Patriot Act to stop these illegal violations. Calling all digital warriors. Please share, repost, copy and paste this video and the text of this newsletter onto Twitter, Facebook, Truth Social, TikTok, etc. They will block it if you just post the link. We are still looking for volunteers. Let us know how you can help. What skill sets do you have? Write to tjustice2@proton.me. Put volunteer in the subject line. You can watch Targeted Justice videos on Rumble by going to the following link, https://rumble.com/user/real-targeted-justice/channels. Please consider donating. Targeted Justice is nonprofit. The donations are tax deductible. Go to either https://pay.cornerstone.cc/targetedjustice or https://www.patreon.com/targetedjustice. You can also send a check to Targeted Justice, P.O. Box 15990, Houston, Texas 77220. Buy some cool gifts and t-shirts from Targeted Justice store by going to https://targeted-justice.printify.me/products or https://www.bonfire.com/store/targeted-justice-products. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video. God bless.
Awesome. So I want to give a shout out to Targeted Source LLC. I don't know what I would do without my Silent Night. I'm someone who has the directed energy and the auditory effect. I use it every single night. I just recently picked up the SK Zapper Reset, the Great Reset, and I was attending a meeting yesterday, and under quite a bit of directed energy attack, and one area within one of my legs where I always feel a lot of issues, I zapped it, and suddenly when I was having connection issues with the meeting and attending the video conference, it went away after I zapped myself. So I can't speak highly enough. You can reach out with any questions to Armando at silentnight with a K .source@gmail.com, or visit the website of www.targetsourcellc.com. There is a new video out on the website that demonstrates how Armando's wife uses the SK Reset Zapper that I just showed. I want to give a shout out to Tranquility and the amazing work that she does for tievents.org. It is your one-stop resource of all things TI related. We have such a growing community and events, whether it be the podcast conference calls, in-person meetups. We've got to stay connected, and because there's no one else better to understand what we're going through than this community, and to strategize and to get advice from others, so that we're helping people so they don't have to go through those stumbling blocks that some of us long-termers have already gone through. That's what this is for. This is what this platform and the community is for, is to help one another, to negate having to go through all of this alone and all the phases that the targeted program, impact and invade our lives. So if you have not checked out the tievents.org website, I strongly encourage you to do so and get plugged in with the community, because every time I attend an event, I'm always learning something new. So it's a beautiful thing. And I want to give a shout out to some very exciting upcoming guests. On next Sunday, the 25th, Enzo Jean Corelli, who is a retired administrative captain for the Sheriff's Department in New Jersey area. So high drone activity there. He stumbled upon, how, Google Maps and how it's used and at the street level, and the wiring and web and stuff that he found. Once he found that, he started getting gang stalked, proxy stalked very heavily after that discovery. So it's going to be a compelling interview with him. I'd urge you to tune in next Sunday. Very excited on June 1st. I have confirmed that Major Jeffrey Prather of the Prather Report, Anna and Richard recently had an interview with him. He is going to be a guest on the Chosen Heroes. He's former Special Operations Soldier, DIA intelligence collector, and DEA special agent turned whistleblower. So you don't want to miss out on that. On June 8th, I will have Dawn Solomon. She has done incredible research by her using her own blood as the example of the technology that is within the blood. And she has tested out some ways to dissolve that graphene that is needed, along with, how that nanotechnology. She's got tons of videos of these parasites and the fungal things that grow as a result of the key signaling within the blood through the frequencies. So you don't want to miss out on that one as well. And then June 15th, Julia Thompson, she is a minister and she is targeted. And she is a true delight, very uplifting. And I'm really going to enjoy the conversation with her. It's going to be that message this community desperately needs. We just have to keep ourselves connected with a higher source, being God, universe, or what resonates with you, to navigate through these psychological courses that we are put through because of this targeting experience. I want to state out that on May 24th, it will be the 5th installation of the bi-weekly working sessions with Jamie Rice. And this is the targeted individual combat training. For those that have not attended and would like to, watch some of the previous videos and be included on the next distribution list for that call this next Saturday, just send me an email at chosen_heroes@proton.me. And I'm looking for volunteers. I have one person that is helping me with research, and I have one person that is amazingly skilled, which is Sean, who does the videos, the shorts, and the targeted justice digital newsletter. He's amazing, but I would love to have some additional support so that I can get back to the community when they reach out to me through email faster, get guests screened and scheduled. That's what the production manager role would be. And if you're good in technical support, I'm also considering a website for the Chosen Heroes so that it would have all recordings and references there as well. But again, needing some additional support and digital content creation would be amazing welcome as well. And here are all the ways that you can like, subscribe, follow, and share of the Chosen Heroes. Another thing that a volunteer could help me with is getting the content, posted out on all platforms, because I'm just a one woman show in terms of this type of stuff and I'm behind. So it would be great if I could get some volunteers. So before I bring Harold up on the screen, I want to say a few things. I really want to urge those of you in the U.S., and then Harold can touch on those in Europe when he begins the discussion with me. But as Targeted Justice has urged, please write Kash Patel, who is the director of FBI, and your local authorities. Copy them on the letter that you send to him. You need to declare that the cease and desist to remove you from the threat screening database and the targeted program. 100% of the non-investigated subjects that are on that threat screening database, that's who we are. Okay, we are not no known ties to terrorism or anything. We do not need to be on this list. We know that list, the threat screening database, the center that is run by the FBI, is the front door that led us into the targeting program. So we need to get off of that list. We need to be the squeaky wheel. And we cannot just sit by and watch others doing the communication and doing that fight. We have to all have some skin in the game on this, because I want to tell you how important that is. Because when you are officially writing out there and to the FBI, they have to scan that and store that for record. Okay, you are creating tracks in the sand. You are officially writing that this has happened to you. So this is why it's very important for you to take action in these communications. You know, we're not just doing this for fun. It is for record. It is for record. And another one that you should be reaching out to is your local authorities, you know, congressmen for your state, for the representative Anna Paulina Luna, who wants to strip the deep state of surveillance tools and repeal the Patriot Act, which was passed 1 month after post 9/11 attack. And it authorizes the collection of personal data and to conduct surveillance with limited judicial oversight. So there's that back end that is working against us and open the door for all of this to happen to us. So I've reached out to the Texas congressman in regards to this. And I've also reached out to Kash Patel, and here are all my receipts. See, I've got 5 of them, certified mail. It's very important, very important. The backdrop kind of wants to blur it out. When we know how the perpetrators, they want to intercept our mail and stuff. So I chose tracking certified mail. I urge you to do so if you can. It's just very important. What Targeted Justice is asking you to do is to take a photocopy of your certified mail receipts and your mailing, you know, when you took it to the post office, and email it to tjustice2@proton.me. What we're going to do with this, we're collecting these receipts so that we can present it to the powers that be, right? That here are all the people that have reached out to you. When are you going to take action on this? Do you see how important this simple action is? To just do this for yourself. We are collecting all of this evidence of how many people this has happened to, how many who have reached out to officials, and we are waiting on a response. So very, very important. The other thing that I want to urge everyone to do is to go to targetedjustice.com. There is a membership link there. It will ask you some questions. This is another tool that Anna Toledo and leadership team will use to present to the government officials in how many people are being targeted around the world and even within the U.S., male, female. Are you targeted? Of course, the symptoms that you have. Do you have directed energy? Do you have Havana syndrome symptoms? Do you have auditory, V2K? So we can get the analysis, the statistics. This membership is of no cost to you. Your information, your name is not going to be published anywhere. This is to help us get collective data analytics to present to congressmen, so Targeted Justice leadership can produce this evidence, right, and statements. And what we're hoping is it's going to lead to hearings for us. And then at that point in time, then yes, we will be called upon to testify. But we have to get there first. We've got to collect the data. So please, if you are not a member, please register. We be a part of this initiative that is so crucial to getting these programs shut down. All right, so I want to lead us into a short prayer before we bring on our very special guest. God, I ask that you watch over all of leadership at Targeted Justice and the podcasters and the volunteers in this very, very special community. Come, Holy Spirit, and enter our lives. Wash over us and all of the trauma and the pain this targeting experience has done to us. And we ask that you start cleansing these wounds from this traumatic event that has invaded our lives. We ask that you take a place in our heart and help us to release in a productive way all the suffering that we've endured and we endure on a daily basis. And we ask that you cover our households and our lives and all aspects of our lives with your protection. And we thank you. We thank you, God, for moving these heavy mountains that are impossible for us alone to move. And that you come into our lives and you guide us in our action steps, things that we need to let go, things we need to release, things that are not healthy for us, so that we can make room and opportunity and doors to appear for in front of us and lead us to our next action steps and our own liberation within our own lives. And for those that are feeling stuck and that there is no hope, I ask that you breathe the fire of hope and your grace within them and anoint them with your oil to liberate and free them from the shackles of this oppression and to free their minds from the anxiety and from the depression and for grieving from that former life and existence. I thank you, God, for washing all over us and illuminating us and new ways of being and living that we can live again despite our present circumstances, that we can have joy and we can have laughter, and that we will be the voice with your backing. You're going in front of us and you're behind us, and you are covering us in all aspects. Amen. Glory, glory. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and we're going to give a short bio here on Harald. So, Harald, 20 years of being targeted. He is the European VP of Targeted Justice. He has a podcast that is in German and it's called The Eye of the Storm. And you can find that podcast on the Rumble channel at TJDEUTSCH. He is also a founding member of the German TI Association, Schutzschild. I don't know if I pronounced that right, but I can have Harald correct me. He worked for ICATOR until recently. Then he joined Targeted Justice, and he's also a member of the International Resistance Movement against Neurotechnological Torture. I have an image on the screen that is the In the Eye of the Storm podcast. You can find Harald on X at Brems Harald. That's the handle, and he's also on YouTube. So without further ado, let's bring Harald to the stage. Hi, Harald.
Hello, Melissa. Thank
So
you
glad
for
to
the
have you here.
thank you for the invitation. Thank you for the possibility to be here tonight. I'm very glad. And hello to the audience. Hello to the community, to all the TIs out there. It's really great to be here. It's an honor. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. So can you tell us when did all of the targeting begin, or when did you realize? What led up to your realization of being a targeted individual?
Well, it started over 20 years ago. It started in 2002, the year of 2002. I was preparing like a protest in a town in the south of Germany. The town is called Singen. That's the name of the town. It's a very small, not a real big town, 45,000 people living there. And I was preparing a demonstration there. it was kind of music demonstration with sound systems, cars with sound systems on it, like maybe like a love parade in Berlin or street parade in Zurich, but very small, of course, really small. But I think this was too much for this little town. So the council of the town, the mayor's office, I think, they decided to give us a lot of problems. They made it hard for us. They said, this is not a real political demonstration. This is a kind of fun event or something. And then I had to prove that this is a political event, a political demonstration. And I had help from people from, it was very, very political at that time, left wing, very much left wing. And I was involved in all these, left wing communities there. Which is not much in this area, but I knew a lot of people, and some of them helped me. And finally, against all these problems, against all this stuff, we made it. And this little demonstration drove through the town with 3 sound systems, DJs on the sound system, on the cars playing music, and going through this little town. And finally it was a success. But for me personally, it was more a disaster, because after that I became a TI. So that started how I became a TI. And then after that it went on, and I got a lot of more problems than I had before. And it was during the preparation when I was in the town, and I was distributing flyers in the town. And then I saw people around me, following me, watching me all the time, looking what I'm doing. Then I went on a train, and I saw some of the people are also in the train following me. Then it really started. This was the beginning of everything.
So what was the flyers that you were distributing, just as an example as one? So it seems like you were being heavily suppressed and targeted and proxy stalked because of out of political suppression, right? They did not want that information stated. Do you have an example of one of the flyers that you had started distributing when you were being stalked?
Well, I think it was more, it was not so much the flyer, it was more the topic. The name of the demonstration was Peace for Israel and Palestine. And that was maybe the problem, because, it was very critically against Israel. And I wanted to show all the problems at that time with the Intifada, the second Intifada. And that was also the name on the flyer. And I think that it had to do very much with the topic of this demonstration, because if you do something against Israel, usually they will keep an eye on you. They will put an eye on you.
Right.
And for many years I also thought this was the reason. When I look back now, I think I was under surveillance before, because things happened before, but I didn't knew what it was. Sometimes things disappeared. Sometimes people came, talked to me, and they knew something that they couldn't knew. They told me something about myself they couldn't knew. Complete strangers, coming to you. And from the view from today, what I know today, I think they had me on the radar before, but that was the event when everything broke out, when it really started to get heavier. But there were things before,
Wow. So do you still today, do you still have the stalking? What other targeting symptoms do you have? Do you have the directed energy or the auditory?
Yes, I have gang stalking. After that, the gang stalking became harder and harder. In the beginning, it was not really much happening. But I saw there were people in my house when I was away. I came home. I saw, okay, somebody has been in my house, and then my computer started behaving strange. Strange problems with the computer. My telephone, there were telephone calls. Nobody was at the telephone, no answer. You pick up the telephone, it's ringing, no answer. Stuff like that. Flyers were missing. I counted the flyers. Some of the flyers were missing, and so on. And then, this continued. And it got more and more. And in the year after, in 2003, there was also something. I was at a doctor, and it was a woman. It was a dentist, yeah, and I was at this at her father's practice. I was there since I was a child. But she took this practice from her father, and she told me, well, there is something at your teeth. There is a bigger damage. You have to come more, not only one time or two times. I asked how often do I have to come? She said maybe 5 to 7 times. Okay, I went there. Of course, every time you go to the dentist, you get a vaccine, anesthetic vaccine,
Yeah.
and so from my knowledge from today, maybe this had a huge impact on the whole surveillance thing, on the whole situation. Yeah, because after that, I had some experiences where I was followed by people, and I tried to hide myself, and they always found me. I tried to hide myself behind a wall or between two cars sitting, and I thought, okay, let's see if they find me. And they found me. Every time they found me, so I couldn't hide anymore. And I thought to myself, what is this? How can they find me? And I thought, okay, maybe at the dentist, maybe they put something in my teeth. I didn't know at the time, yeah. Also, something was very strange at the dentist. Most of the time, she worked on my teeth. There was nobody there, maybe a helper or somebody. But one day there was another doctor, and she introduced him like, I don't know the name. He came from a university, and he's a new doctor, and he's practicing a little bit. And I thought, okay, but this guy was in his 40s. He was not so young anymore.
Right.
And I watched his face, and I recognized this guy doesn't look at my mouth. He's watching me. He's watching my face, and he had this grim face, this grim view, and this grim look. And he looked like he would think, "I got you, man," or something like this. Got you, yeah. And then I recognized that he's looking strange at me. And then he was looking at my teeth again. Okay. That was strange to me at that time, but you don't know what this can be, yeah. But from now, I think this guy was no doctor. He was something else. This was not a real doctor. Yeah, and then after that, the next year, 2004, it got harder. It escalated. The gang stalking really escalated. It was almost every day, not only once a day. It was 2, 3, 4 times a day. I had a dog at that time. I walked my dog. There was always a car driving by, bumping the horn. People said, grinding, doing this. Hello. I didn't know these people. It was on the way to work, on my way back from work, and so on. And I had a job at that time. I quit the job because I was so confused and terrified. I didn't know what to do, and that was it was not really smart to quit the job. But if the hell breaks loose on you and you don't know what it is,
right, exactly. You just want it to end.
You do stupid things in such situations, yeah. And then it went on until 2008, and in 2008, in January or so, I had a surgery in the hospital in this town, in my nose, in the inner part of my nose. And after that, the attacks with electromagnetic weapons started. I had pain in my body. Suddenly I couldn't sleep anymore. Yeah, maybe 4 hours per night. I had stings. I had pressure on the bones, pressure on the body, pressure in my face, on the bones.
Mm-hmm.
And then sleepless nights. I was very tired in the morning. I went to work. I had another work. Then I went to work, but I was really so tired during the work. I couldn't concentrate. And I was also attacked during the work. My feet felt like there is electricity in my feet or on my feet. And also during the night, I had the feeling I'm lying in kind of field or something in my bed. And then I thought, okay, this must be something from outside. It's not coming from my body. This must be something from outside. And I started to search for silent weapons, invisible weapons, and stuff like this. And then I found microwave weapons, people who experienced the same thing almost that I experienced. And then I thought, okay, this can be microwave weapons. This is silent
So your
weapons.
research led it where you found that other people were reporting the similar things and that it was from microwave weapons.
Yes, I searched on different websites, and I also found out there is a association at that time. There was a German association from a Russian woman, and I think the name was Association Against Psychophysical Torture or something. Her name was Shunin, Svetlana Shunin. The association doesn't exist anymore, but at that time it existed. And then I wrote to them, and then I saw there are many people around in Germany also, but also around the world. There are many people who have the same problem, who are experiencing the same stuff that I do. And then, of course, it felt a little bit better not to be alone with this problem, but it didn't stop. Of course, it went on. I have this. I still have these attacks, but I would say it's not so hard like in the beginning. The first years have really been hell. It's hell. You can't sleep. You have pain in your body. You have stings. You have concentration problems, cognitive problems, and all that stuff. And I still have it now, but not this much like in the beginning. It reduced a little bit. They tried other things. They also tried to give me psychological attacks. Like sometimes you get very depressed, you get very sad, especially in the morning when I woke up. I was very sad many times, very depressed, and so on.
Yes, it's a lot with the emotional manipulation that they try, and it just takes time to know, just start the internal questioning. Why am I feeling this? Is this something that is coming from me, or is it something else? And just kind of let your own senses be the guide to it. You can kind of pinpoint on the patterns. Like it looked like you had determined that there were some patterns that were forming. It was when you wake up. I noticed a lot of times when I was just coming from out of sleep, like from the morning, then I might have had like a couple of seconds of peace, but then I would feel the connection and my body heating up. There would be even times where I was waking from sleep and I would see all of these different color patterns and swirls and all of this weird stuff, right? Don't so much get that anymore. But again, it's as you're coming back out of the sleep, certain things were happening. So it seems to be something that, of course, when we're asleep, they really want to try to get in on the subliminal messaging and trying to do programming and such. So I think it's always very important as we go to sleep that we declare to ourselves that, nothing, only our subconscious is going to resonate with something that is constructive and for our highest good. That anything based off of technology, subliminal messaging, frequencies that are coming against our biofield be nullified. And it's almost like you've got to entrain yourself to be in that state before you go to sleep too, and start the day in that regard as well. We just have to combat these very sophisticated systems that, have a human component to it, but also the AI component that is just running off of our trauma and responses that we fed it over time. They've learned our patterns, and they try to implant us with these thoughts that are not our own. And it just takes, testing and doing your own analysis on yourself and what you're going through to kind of see through some of this.
Yeah.
Would you say that now, I don't have the knowledge about the organizations or the specialized groups that are in Germany and Europe, but can you speak to our community that are in these areas? And who do you feel is behind this in Europe?
Well, I think in Europe, it's the same people like everywhere in the world. It's the secret services, it's maybe military, and also they work together with small criminals, people who they can blackmail, like people who have been in jail or stuff like that. And then they say, okay, you do something for us, you help us, and you don't have to go to jail again, or so, like this. Yeah, small criminals, but the people behind this huge organization, you see it, they are everywhere. There are people everywhere. It's in the post office, it's in schools, it's in at your job, it's the telephone company. They can install people everywhere. So who is as big as that he can do something? It's not the mafia, because this is too big for the mafia. They can follow you around the world to the other side of the world. And who can do this? Who is big enough to do this? It's only the government, it's the state, it's secret services and military, maybe. Yeah, these are the people who are mighty enough to do something. Yeah, no private person, no private organization is mighty enough to do this, what they do. This is, for me, there's no question that there's the government behind it in some form, whichever.
Would you say that there has to be an agreement between countries in order for this to follow a person even outside of the country? And it seems like there's no place that you are immune from this. Not in my experience. The connection seems always strongest for me in home base, right? But it catches up. It takes it a little bit to catch up once you're somewhere else. But isn't it ironic that there has to be an acknowledgement or an agreement in place for this to be done all around the world, right? And so they can be in agreement to do these kinds of things against civilians for nefarious purposes, but cannot be peaceful, right? So it just makes you question everything, because obviously there is a connecting entity or organization that this all funnels through in some regard. Do you agree? Or, I mean, what are your thoughts on that?
Of course, they are all connected. All the secret services, most of them are connected between. There are the 2 eyes, there are the 5 eyes, there are 20 eyes, whatever. Yeah, and every secret service in the Western Hemisphere is connected with each other and with CIA and NSA, and of course they share information. We know about the terrorist screening database, and maybe there are other bases too. We don't know, other databases that the public doesn't know. But yeah, of course, they are deeply connected with each other. And if you decide today, I fly to wherever, to Canada or to another place, they know immediately, and they don't have to follow you by plane. They can just do a phone call and say, okay, he's arriving at 8 p.m. Can you put somebody there at the airport and wait? So there will be somebody and waits for you. Yeah, that's no problem. They are all together. They are all connected worldwide, and you cannot hide from these people. They always find you. Yeah, especially as a TI. there's no way to hide. Yeah.
No, the one thing that will make the greatest difference is the awareness and exposure of this. More and more people coming forward that have participated in this type of torment, stalking, and monitoring of others. All we can do is ask God to turn their hearts and have them grow a conscience, because I know that I've read that it's probably pretty common within people who participate in these things. Like you said, there is something like a bargaining chip that is hanging over their head. For those that may have committed crimes, saying, okay, you are now going to be a government informant and you're going to be involved with doing this stalking and street theater tactics on an individual. And as a result of that, then you don't go to jail, and it's a bargaining chip with them. There's so many narratives that are involved with how they make this work, and the incentive and the driver behind it, depending on the types of groups that they are using. Nothing better than to get the ones that are already, morally bankrupt to participate in these things, and, use the carrot dangle of you don't go to jail and you get to be with your family as long as you commit these acts against other humans. So it's been around a long, long time. There's a lot of players and secret groups and organizations that all connect in with the intelligence agencies and for the monitoring, whether it be somebody that was well connected and you rub them the wrong way, or is it because, of your political stance and views, knowing that you are not one that follows the herd off of the cliff, that you turn around and go the other way and you're a free thinker. So there's so many ways that I think that people can be chosen into these programs. And some of it, I think, especially with, the Monarch programs that have been done based off of children, and, the brainwashing and splintering their personalities with this torture to activate them maybe to do acts later on. There's all these different components where maybe at birth people were put into these programs unbeknownst to them, until at some point, some trigger event is where it starts to activate.
Yeah, we see at the past programs you said, like Monarch or MK Ultra, we see that they don't care if you are a human being or not. They destroy you if they get anything out of it, anything positive. If they if they can. I don't know how to say. If it's positive for them, if they win something, then they don't care if you live or if you get crazy, if you get to the psychiatric yard or whatever. You're just material for them. You're like a rat somewhere, like a labor rat or something. Yeah, you don't have any value for them. Yeah. And
I think that all TIs can relate with a moment where you felt like you were reduced down to an experimental rat, a lab rat, like you said. That is very, I try to think, okay, well, I'm going to be that different rat that gnaws through the walls of the maze. So I'm gonna do something different. We all have to think outside the box, because what they're trying to do is pigeonhole us into our own personal prison and corner and keep us there, to isolate us, character assassinate us, discredit us, be perceived as being mentally unwell, unstable, violent. They're trying to poke the bear to get that reaction. How do you navigate? This has been done to me that I'm aware of since 20 12 after working for a corrupt private business for a short period of time, relatively short, less than a year, 11 months, before I had enough and left. But how do you, at the 20-year point, what advice do you have for this community on navigating through the gang stalking and the directed energy and auditory and all these different side effects that come with being a targeted individual?
Well, what you can do, one part is you can try to shield yourself. This is what I also tried with more or less success. So there's clothing, you can buy these masks where only your eyes are open, the rest is tissue, shielding material. There are many different shops on the internet. What I also tried was I had a blanket that was a special tissue with, I think it was iron and copper.
Mm-hmm.
And I bought this years ago. It was really expensive, but it helped me. When I got attacked, I put this blanket over me and it shielded me. It helped me. You can also try copper. There is also copper foil. You can try to make yourself a shield. You have to tape it because copper is very sharp. This foil is very sharp. You can cut yourself, and if you are attacked, you use it like a blanket. You put it over you, but this will not help 100%. You will lower it a little bit. You will reduce it a little bit, but you won't get away everything of the attacks, but at least a little bit. I think one part, what people should do is try to shield themselves. And then what is also important is to go out, to go to public, to tell the people what is happening. Maybe you don't want to tell it to your boss at work because you can lose your job, or you don't want to tell it to your neighbors because maybe the neighbors don't want to talk to you anymore if you tell them you are a TI. But there are other possibilities, other ways to open the eyes of the public. And it's very important to go out and to do this, because otherwise I don't see how this will end. Because the only way, or maybe there are two ways, but one of these two ways is to inform the people, to go out with the information. You can do interviews, you can do videos of yourself, you can go on TikTok or on social media, you can post stuff there. There is the campaign Digital Warriors of Targeted Justice. You can do this. You can go on social media. You can go on the comment page of every article in the internet. Every article has a comment site. You can write comments there. You can write to politicians. You can write to journalists. You can write to pastors even, or Buddhist monks, or whatever. Everybody who has a community, who has influence, should know about this, because these people can get the information further to their community. So this is what people can do. And on the other side, it's very important to find proof, to find evidence for what is happening. But this is not so easy, as we know, because if you want to go to a judge, to court, you need really hard evidence. You need maybe x-rays. If you have implants in your body, you need x-rays, medical reports, you need measurement reports done by professionals, people with a license. And this is not easy, because the most licensed professionals work for state, for university, for whatever. And they will be very careful what they say and what they do, because they also can lose their job, or can at least get problems. So it's not so easy to find this hard evidence. And even if you have this hard evidence, then you have to find a lawyer, because without a lawyer, you have no chance if you go to court. So first you have to find a lawyer. So that's the next step, which is also almost impossible, because what lawyer wants to deal with something like this, with the TI program? Nobody wants to deal with something. So most of the lawyers, 99.9%, say, oh no, thank you. Maybe they don't believe it, maybe they believe it and get afraid or whatever, but they don't want to handle with such a thing. So I think the best chance would be to, if enough people go out with their story and start to be active, to inform other people, and if we could make it that we start a huge campaign like the Julian Assange campaign, who helped to get Julian Assange out of jail. That was a huge worldwide campaign, and if we could make it to build up such a campaign, maybe not so big like Julian Assange, a little bit smaller, that would help, I think, to solve the problem.
Yes, we
This
need
would be
to
a big
get
help.
the buy-in from the general
I think,
unaware
this
public.
is important, and this is the way. These are the ways we have. Way one: find hard evidence, go to court. Way two: go out with the information, and if enough people will do this, then we have a chance. We have to create a big movement, worldwide movement.
Yes, it has to be this grassroots movement, and I think that some of the keys to success of this is
Okay, I don't hear you anymore.
Uh-oh. Does anyone else hear me? Can anyone else hear me?
Melissa? Okay, my sound is corrupted somehow. I don't know why. Well, I guess our friends don't like what we say, and though they don't like the topic, what we say here, so they decided to do something.
All right, so he cannot.
I guess they don't like us.
Yes. Let me try this. Let's remove Harold and let me bring him back. Harold, can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Anna, if you're on the call, can you reach out to Harold through email and just ask him to disconnect and rejoin? I don't think he sees the chat.
I didn't change anything, but I can't hear you anymore. I don't know if you hear me. I didn't change anything.
Okay.
Everything is like it was before.
Let's see. All right. Let me see if I can unmute. Okay, so it looks like it says on his end he's muted. But we can hear him. I don't know how to reach out with him. Oh, this is a shame. It shows on my end that he is muted, but he needs to leave and come back on. Since he's in Germany, it's like I don't have a contact number for him where I could reach him quickly, other through email. So let's just take a. Okay, great. I believe it was Anna. She sent him an email, so hopefully he will receive that. So I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to put some of his other information up on the screen here, because I urge you to. It is in German, his Eye in the Storm podcast that is on Rumble. And I was hoping he would see. I see your comment, Faye. I was hoping he would see the chat. He should be able to, but it depends on what menu he's on, because I can have a different view based off of what I select. So let's just go through he has a very good documentary that I wanted. Even though his podcast is in German, he does have a very good documentary that is called The Secret History of mind control that is on Rumble. And he has it in English subtitles. And it has images. It was a professional demonstration that he did. It has images of MK Ultra documents. A lot of things were destroyed, but these were, ones that were discoverable. So he did an excellent job of explaining that history of mind control, and I urge you to check it out. It is on his channel within Rumble, which is TJ, and it is the DEUTECH, or it's up there. There it is, TJ DEUTSCH. So I urge you to go check that out. Harald has spent a lot of time and done a lot of service for the community in outreach and demonstrations in Europe. I strongly urge those that are in Europe and Germany to reach out to him. You'll see it down on the banner below that you can reach out to him at let me get to that point where it says the email address. It's coming at the bottom of the screen there. There it is, HABRE@protonmail.com. And, share your story. Share your story. He is an excellent person to do an interview with. And I believe he's multilingual as well, obviously with English and German, but I think there is other languages that he speaks also. So I urge you to check that out. I am going to go to the chat, and hopefully Harald will check his email and maybe disconnect. Let me remove, it shows on my end that I cannot unmute him because he's on mute. So I'm going to remove him and add him back to the stage. Harald, can you hear us? I don't think he sees the chat. Well, we're going to go through the chat and I can answer questions to my best ability. Hello, Nix. If you're still with us from Greenville, Texas, glad to have you here. Michael, okay, he is disconnecting, so we'll give him time to reconnect again. Hi, Michael. I'm going to put your message up on the screen here. Great to see you. Okay, my psychotronic torture and VT harassment is quite bad today. Again, thank you for everything you do for the targeted individual community. Thank you. I'm so sorry that you're going through this, Michael. I've had a recent uptick with mine, and, we do our best to navigate through it. It's so important to have the shielding and to try out different methods to mitigate and reduce these attacks that happen to us. But, we're winning. We're making a comeback on this. Okay. Hi, Harald. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Oh, good. Awesome.
I had to disconnect, and then now I reconnected, and
awesome. Yes, I was hoping that would do the trick. So what I was saying while you were gone is I was telling them about the secret history of mind control, the documentary that you did on Rumble, and how well produced that was, and you articulated that information so well. And I definitely took advantage of the information because you had the English subtitles that I could understand it. And can you tell us how that came about and just give us kind of an overview of what it's all about? I was telling them that it contained documentation like from the MK Ultra. You had that within the presentation. There was so much jam-packed into that documentary.
Well, yeah, it was. This was a lecture I gave, or a presentation, how you call it, and it's from 2002. And that was a meeting in Germany, in Hamburg, where we did a meeting with our association, which is the name is Schutzschild. You can find it on Schutzschild-ev.de. Yeah, and Schutzschild means protection shield, and that's a German name of it. And we started with this association in 2021, and 2022 there was this meeting in Hamburg, and I thought it's a good possibility to show the people the history of mind control, because many people don't know about it, especially people who are not TIs. If you are a TI, okay, you read a lot of what has to do with it, or you watch some movies or so, some videos, but the non-TIs usually don't know anything about mind control, about electromagnetic weapons and so on, electronic harassment, however you call it, gang stalking and so on. And so I thought, okay, that's a good possibility to show everything from beginning, how it started until now. And so I gave this lecture, this presentation, and put it online with subtitles for
Yes.
the English people, and that's it. Yeah.
And have you done any English subtitles on, or considering doing English subtitles on the In the Eye of the Storm podcast?
Yeah, but it's I do it sometimes. I have video parts of a video that I show in the podcast, and usually I do the subtitles for this video parts. But you cannot do subtitles for a live stream when it's not in English. That's the problem. If you do it in English on YouTube, you can do subtitles they in real time. Yeah, but if it's in another language, you can't do this. So that's the problem. I cannot put the subtitles for the whole stream, but I can put the subtitles for some parts of it that I show in the stream. Yeah.
Okay, understood. So you've got 28, 29 episodes of available out for the In the Eye of the Storm. So what was some of the most memorable moments that you had, or any guests that you had that appeared that just kind of stand out?
Well, I think one of it was with Len Bear. The other one was with Richard Lighthouse. These are two of the highlights, because they are really good, people to talk with, and they know a lot of things. They can explain really good, and I think that was really good. And many people watched that. These two shows.
Absolutely, they're always great guests.
But also I had some other shows who really have been good and interesting, and from time to time people tell me, oh, thank you for this, and it's very interesting, and so on. And yeah, if somebody out there wants to be a guest in my show, you are welcome. You can write me an email. You see the email on the screen, my email. You can write me, and we find a way to get you in the show, because I'm always looking for people who can explain what is happening to them. I think it's important to show the world that we are not some tinfoil hats who are crazy in the head. We are normal people. We are not sick or everything, but this is happening to people. This is happening to us, and we have to tell the world what is happening. So it's important, to go out with a story.
Yeah, I mean that's the stigma that we're up against, is the tinfoil hat club, I call it, because when people they start to hear this, they latch on to the one thing that they can relate to that may fit what they just heard, which, if we're talking about directed energy, or we're talking about frequencies, and we're saying mind control and all of that, that's when they're like, oh, I remembered, I heard something about these tinfoil hat people that are crazy. And that's how they process it. The one thing that's working in our favor today is all of this exposure that has come out. Granted, it isn't enough, because we need to get to the roots of where we exist in this whole, big picture, right? But there's been some chipping away that is helping us. It's just not at the pace that we want it to, and that's why we have to strike hot while the iron, that saying, strike while the iron is hot, because we have got to get it out there going, we're not going We're not going to be quiet. We're going to continue to raise awareness. The other thing that I think that we could do all as a community is to, and it's hard for us because we live and breathe this 24/7, and we have done our research. We are on top of our game in trying to research all of these different modalities and mechanisms and manners of which this can happen. We need to, our message has to be in a digestible format, and it keeps coming to me. Why are people still so rejected to this? I know people are very like visual, we have to capture them within a short, time span. Or if we go into too much details about the program and how it works and all that is involved with it, then they just gloss over, and then they go and they latch on to the tinfoil hat, reference point. But if we do it in a very digestible way, and I'm out there just, I'm just thinking aloud here, and we capture it within a very narrow window of time and maybe throw in some visual with the content, which is what the Digital Warriors campaign is all about. These short bursts of, information and truth to help make it more palatable to the general community that is not aware, but they are all going through their storm of, oh my gosh, all this stuff has been a cover up. So the ground is right there for us to come in and give them the information about the program so that they can start digesting that. So when we go out and we try to explain the torture and the directed energy and in a way that is not relatable to them, then that is where they can't digest it. It's like trying to feed a baby a steak. They don't have the teeth to chew it, right? It's too much. So that's why I think it's just a brilliant idea to have the Digital Warriors campaign and to have that cohesive message that, Targeted Justice is really good at working with, and just taking that message and pasting it back out there or reciting it out to the community. Because if we go down too far in the rabbit hole, that's when we lose them. Then the fish doesn't even want to approach the hook. So we lose them right in that moment. Do you have some guidance on how you found effective ways of reaching other people that did not have any awareness that these programs existed?
Well, I think it's always good to show them MK Ultra because it happened before. This is not the first time they are attacking civilians. They did it before, and this is knowledge that most of the people have. Most of the people around know of, or at least have heard something about MK Ultra. And I think it's important to show them. Look, they have it. They've done it before, and they took over 10,000 people worldwide and experimented on them without their will, without information, without consent. And also we have the good situation now, that we have the Havana syndrome, and we can show the people, look, this is happening right now, and it's not only happening to US stuff, to FBI, CIA, and so on. Yeah, it's also happening to civilians, to normal people like you and me. And I think that's a good way to make it clear to the people. Yeah, of course, you should not talk too crazy. You should give the people credible information, like scientific information also. This is important. Not talk about, I don't know, crazy stuff. Yeah, we have to talk about logic stuff, things that people can understand, that you can prove. Show them scientific documents about Havana syndrome and so on. Yeah, about MK Ultra, there are documents about MK Ultra. You can show the people. Yeah, it's not fantasy. It's not a fairy tale. It's history. Yeah. It has happened.
Exactly. And we have to also be mindful that even people in powerful positions within government, they're not at that security clearance to even understand this as well. There are some, I will say, but some are part of the inner networking. They may not know the whole big picture of it. They just know their component of it. They were only told that these, this group of people needs to be watched, or, they're a possible terrorist or suspect, knowing that, and they take it without any second guessing because of where it came from, right? So someone in their upper management or leadership or whatever. There's just so many things they're at play with this. It's such it's quite a web. And we're just trying to chisel through this and to break light on it. But more and more people are very susceptible to this. There's so much information out there nowadays. It just baffles my mind that the public could be so blind to this with so much content. But again, just with any kind of key searches that you do, it really is the order of words that you're looking for that yield the result. And then there's the shadow banning, that extra layer of trying to prevent that data from even coming up in searches. I know in 2012, when I started to search for things to try to, put the pieces together of how in the world this was, possible. I spent so much money in research and books, even a very, very thick surveillance technology book, but it was old school technology on how you tap a landline. But I did actually have a landline that was tapped. And one of the symptoms of that is the clicking on the landline, because again, this was going on back when we were still really using phones. Cell phones are just now, we're coming out, and it's not the way it is today. But I still was able to find information. It wasn't very much as the plentiful amount that is out there right now. It's just that we have to be patient. And what is working against us is the perfect psyop that they built to make us look discredited and not stable, and that we're maybe violent, or that we acted out in a moment of our unrelenting torture that we're subjected to. So this is where we can, reach the ones just now becoming aware of this, because they're the most vulnerable of it. But the other thing too that I think is working in our favor is more and more things are coming out about the shot and the epidemic, and that is not favorable in terms of those who had it. So you have to know that we're doing something right. Let me just give an example. I saw a post where FBI Director Kash Patel is, and he's stating in there, we want to rebuild the trust of the FBI. So that tells you right now that we've already put a dent in the armor in terms of all the stuff that has been coming out, that has been corruption in terms of that. So, but then that's where we have to challenge those kinds of statements. And this is where I think God comes in too, because they're trying to project out truth and transparency on all fronts, that they work for us. But what about the thousands upon thousands of us that are living our lives in daily torment, torture, our health, our families, our homes, our pets, all of these things? So this is where it's so important for us to be that bulldozer going through that and challenging, going, well, what about us? What about all of this? Don't you think that, hundreds of thousands of lives matter? If you're working for us, then why hasn't this been discussed? So this is how we can make a difference. But again, articulate it in a digestible way, and challenge it in that regard, because otherwise, if we go too deep, then it's in the tinfoil hat category. But I noticed lots of people, targeted people, are making comments on there, and I applaud them for doing so. Do you have any other suggestions for, how we can, continue to make that dent?
I think it's also important for the people to have networks out of the internet, because a lot of things in the TI community are happening in the internet, and it's okay. It's nice to talk to each other on Zoom or wherever, but it's also important to go offline and meet people offline. And I would like to encourage all the TIs to search for other TIs who live in their area, maybe not too far away, so you can go and visit those people, build networks. You can start doing meetups in your area, for example, once in a month or once in 2 months, or how you have time. Yeah, but try to do this. Do a meetup, and then write it out, and people will come, people will meet you, and people need a community. They need other people to talk about their problems. And if there are meetups, or you can also do conference calls, of course, is also very important. Yeah, you can do it on X, on Spaces, or on Zoom. That's also important. Yeah, but I think it's more important to have people around you. Maybe something happens and you can call somebody can come to you, can help you if you need it, and you have somebody to talk. Yeah, and that makes it a lot easier if you have people to talk to about this problem. Yeah, it helps you to stay healthy, yeah, not to get sick of it. Yeah.
Yes, because we have to have healthy ways of getting this perpetual traumatic event diminished within our bodies and our cells. I mean, it's at a cellular level. We have to do things that benefit and our body. Do you take any kind of supplements, or found any supplements helpful? I always ask that. We're not giving out medical advice or anything, but it for me, you just have to kind of experiment. I have my own, but I always ask, is there things that you found helpful that might be a supplement, knowing that everyone should consult with their doctor to make sure that supplement wouldn't interact unfavorably with their own body?
Well, I do take some supplements, but I don't think they are really necessary for TIs. But what helped me a little bit was melatonin. You know it maybe, for sleep. You can take this, not too much, because if you take too much, you will be very tired in the next morning.
Yeah.
But I had a lot of sleep deprivation, and I still have sleep deprivation. And from time to time, I take a little bit melatonin that helps me to sleep better. Yeah, of course, if they don't want that you sleep, you don't sleep. It doesn't matter what you take. They can manage that you don't sleep if they don't want that you sleep. But in the most cases, I can get to sleep, and even if they wake me up at night, I still feel better the next day. I still feel better because the sleep is deeper. And yeah, I take some other. I take vitamin D, for example. I think that helps also to stay healthy, but I don't think it's really necessary for TIs. Yeah.
Yeah, for me, I find relief with a grounding sheet, and I have a grounding pillowcase as well. When I do my work during the day, I have a grounding mat so that at least my wrist can touch it, because we're always being hit with so much of the frequencies and stuff. But for me, like for the supplements, there was a question out there, 702 FISA survivor. I agree with you. Lion's mane. I feel that I've had benefit from lion's mane. I kind of rotate it between lion's mane and ashwagandha, which is, for the nervous system and the brain. I do MCT8 oil, which is like octane for the brain. It's brain fuel. Because my line of work is very analytical, lots of details. And DV3, I think, is important. I think magnesium, we are heavily depleted in magnesium, which kind of can bring upon or worsen pain. I've found relief with taking that also. And vitamin C, I think, is always a good one for doing that also. If you have high inflammation, there's things like turmeric and stuff, but I always ask, in terms of supplement, usually people are doing some kind of supplementation.
It came to my mind. From time to time, sometimes I take colloidal gold. I have the liquid one.
Mm-hmm.
And when I'm attacked very hard, especially when I have brain fog or stuff like that, and then I take a small glass of colloidal gold, and that really helps if you are attacked at your brain fog, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
You can't really think, you can't really keep your things together. That helped me. Yeah, but I do it only sometimes, not very often. Yeah.
Yes. There's again, it's just like you have to find what works for you and then kind of experiment. Unfortunately, we have to do this. We shouldn't have to because we're of the attacks that we receive. So can you tell me a little bit? I know that you did some work with ICATOR. So what type of work did you do for them?
I didn't understand the question.
You had worked for ICATOR?
Oh, yes. Oh, well, I just was on the board. For example, we did a protest in Belgium in 2023 in the summer, in June. A huge protest. Havana Syndrome in Europe was the title.
Mm-hmm.
And that was with other TI groups, also with ICATOR, and also with the German Association, also with Stopback from the Netherlands, with Peter Mooring, with people from Czech Republic, from Italy, and so on. There were several European groups involved in this protest, and I organized the protest, not alone, together with others, of course. That was a part of my work, and stuff like I made the website. I was doing the YouTube channel in the beginning. Then Alison took it over after a while, but that was my job at ICATOR. Yeah.
Okay, and then can you tell us a little bit about the international resistance movement against neurotechnological torture?
Yeah, well, that's just a group of other TI groups, and we do meetings every second week. There is a meeting, and from each group are one or two people from Czech Republic, from Canada, from the Netherlands, from Italy, from France. There are people from Germany.
Mm-hmm.
And
is this a conference call?
It's a conference call, but it's not open. It's not public. It's just for the members of these groups. Mm-hmm. Just to coordinate, to talk about things we could do. Sometimes we send emails to politicians. Moimir Babacek is doing, I think he's very famous. Everybody knows Moimir Babacek. He writes very good articles. Sometimes we send these articles to politicians or wherever. Yeah. And it's a kind of World TI panel where different groups can meet and can organize things and do stuff to get the information out to the public. Yeah.
Yeah, it's I think it with tievents.org, you see all of these different meetups, and if I challenge those that do not have a meetup in their area, that you can start out just as something as small as a conference call and reach out to tievents.org, and Tranquility will publish the event for you, and that's where it all begins, and it doesn't cost you anything. And there is a service called Free Conference Call, and I use that for my bi-weekly meetings with Jamie Rice for the TI boot camp training series. And it works good, and you get a certain amount of storage where you can even video the call. You have live participants. You could even organize a monthly meetup. Pick a maybe a restaurant that is outdoors, partial outdoor, indoor. You can do these type of things as well. And there's just so much, because when you have a website like tievents.org, and you see all of these TI events, I mean, here we go. This is us combating that narrative that this is all in our head. There are so many groups out there from all around the world. So I really encourage you to do that for your area if there isn't one. You'll be surprised how easy it is to just get it off the ground. And Tranquility on tievents.org even has a little guide, a book on how to organize a meeting and to create a group for your own. Are you still a member of the German TI Association? Is it Schutzschild?
Yeah, I'm still a member. Yeah, I'm
You're founding member, right? Yeah.
Founding member, and I'm also the president, so to say, director, no, president. Yeah, and still, of course, and it's a lot of work to do, because I also there try to reach a lot of people. I write a lot of emails, and also I do the podcast, and I also tell all the German people to watch my podcast, of course.
Mm-hmm.
We had a campaign, we had an email campaign, because to write to the people of parliament in Germany, to the politicians of the German Bundestag, and so on. We are doing stuff like this, and in the summer we are doing the TI demonstration on 29th of August, the World TI Day. We did it since 2020, was the first time we did it. That was before the association existed, without the association. And then after 21, we did it every year. And in August, we do this protest. From time to time, we go out here in Berlin, we go out with flyers on the street, distribute some flyers, or just put them into the post boxes of people, into the houses, and so on. This is what we do. And yeah, if you want to join the team, if there are people out there who think, okay, I want to do something, I don't want to sit and watch until somebody comes and saves me, I want to get active. Mm-hmm. So you are welcome to join the team. Yeah.
So how many members do you have of that association?
Oh, we are a very small association. We are very carefully, because of course, because of the circumstances, we are a little bit. Yeah, of course, the paranoia level is under TIs, between TIs, is very high, of course, and mm-hmm. we are very carefully, and we don't take so many members. We want to know them before we take them into the association, because you never know. And in the past, we already had some so-called TIs, and as soon as they were in the association, they started behaving strange, started a lot of problems, spread rumors, bad rumors, and so on. And because of this, we are very carefully. It's a very small association. Yeah.
Yes, well, I mean, small but mighty. You're doing really great work, and you have a vetting process, which I think everybody knows. Everyone has come into encounter with those that are truly being targeted versus some that are just, trying to stir the pot and, doing bad things to kind of, add to the defamation of us. And let's see if we've got some comments here. Let me go through.
I wanted to add something because the conference calls, you also mentioned the conference calls. I think this is a very good step if you want to build a community in a country. And for all people out there, if they want to start a TI community in their country, you should start a conference call. You can go on Zoom, you can do it like on the other platforms. There are a lot of platforms you can use. You can go on X, do a spaces on X. And if you do it for example, once in a week or every second week, you will gather people. There will come people because the people need to talk about their problem. They also need relief. And if you talk about it, you get relief. Yeah, you feel better. And the people will come, the people will join, and you can start a community in your country. For example, if you want to start it in Greece or in Turkey or in whatever country, start with a conference call, and then you will see people will come. I think this is
Yes.
a good starting point. Yeah.
Yes, and it's quite, using like the service, the free conference call, it's quite simple to do. And you get the link in the different ways. Even on the conference call, it's global. There is numbers for all countries. And you can distribute the reminder out for the event and everything right within it. So they have some helpful documentation. You get free storage for a certain amount to collect your videos. You'll get where you can download your video of the call and share it as a link. So there's a lot of good stuff with it.
Absolutely.
So yes, I'm going through the chat here, and Anna had said, I'm going to show the comment, and she said, "Amen, thank you, Melissa. Each letter," yes, this is when I was talking about the letters to send out, "that as of this date, you knew you were a targeted and individual and demand to be removed from the illegal blacklist." So yes, make a note that of when your targeting experience began, within your communication. And I did not mention, but there is a letter template. You can find it on the Chosen Heroes. You can find it on Anna Toledo's page and the Targeted Justice page and the on X, and then the Targeted Justice newsletter as well. So a lot of sources to get that template, and you can tailor it for yourself. Zachary Budd, if you are still on, just let me know how I can reach out to you since you're having trouble making contact. And I will. Let's take a look. Let's see, we've got this one. Nick says, question, some of us are under extreme control, homeless and not allowed to work. Is there any way we can give y'all our information, send a letter for us to Congress or the right contacts? Yeah, have you reached out to tjustice2 at proton.me, or you can email at chosen_heroes at proton.me. I understand if you are currently in a situation of being homeless and would like to have a letter distributed for you, just to reach out. We'll see what we can do to help you. All right.
I think it's not so easy if you are homeless. It's not easy.
Unfortunately, this targeting program, and that it can lead to that, but your voice matters.
Yeah, I also met some people here in Germany who got homeless through the targeting, and yeah, that's not funny. If you're on the street, some of them at least they have their cars where they can sleep, but some maybe don't have any cars anymore. Yeah.
Yes. Targeted individuals in Havana syndrome stated, great to see you, Melissa and Harald. Thank you for your TI chats. They help a lot and are encouraging. Thank you for that feedback. We're so glad that you could join.
Yeah, thank you.
Right, I'm just going through the comments.
Yeah, guys, if you want to support the TI community, you can also post post all the articles, all that stuff, post it online. On social media. You can take all our videos, all our articles, our websites, copy and post it somewhere, and show the people what is going on. Spread the information.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
This is something that everybody can do. Yeah. It's not very hard to post a link somewhere on social media.
Okay, we went through that. We've had a lot of comments. Well, I love this community. You're just so wonderful and so supportive. I am so grateful that um, you tune in. So this one says targeting has exploded the last few years. I have noticed an increase in mine, but my increase was when I started to research heavily again. I went through a period where I wasn't researching as much, and when I started to, and that it was last year, really, I really ramped up, and that's when I found targeted justice too, and started attending meetings and calls. I felt that is when mine uh, really did increase. Have you noticed any an uptick in yours as well, Harold?
If I noticed what?
Has there been an uptick, an increase in your attacks recently compared to previous years?
Not really. Sometimes it's always up and down. It depends on what I'm doing. Sometimes I get punished for things I do. If I do things that they don't like, if I prepare something, maybe an event or something, then I get more punishment, more pain, more sleep deprivation. Yeah, more pain in the body. And then there are times when it's less. Yeah, sometimes I sleep better. Sometimes I don't sleep very much, and it's always up and down. It's not always the same. Yeah.
There is a question. Are you still doing your online magazine?
Online magazine. Well, I have some websites, but I don't really have time to work on it because I'm still working, and then I have to do the podcast once in a week, every Friday, and I have to prepare a lot for that podcast. So unfortunately, I don't really have time for the other project. Yeah, there are some other projects. For example, the website, which is Zack News. It's written zack.news. Yeah, that's the website. But yeah, like I said, I don't really have time to work on it. Yeah.
Yes, I saw that, and I had went to the website, and it's in the on the slide that is on the screen from your X account, which is that middle picture on the bottom, and it has the link to it as well, so you can also access those publishings through the X account as well, or the website directly.
Yeah, that's true.
Here's one. WJ Skull says, if we know much of this program is done from the fusion centers and military aircraft, we need an account of their actions, activities, and reasons, descriptions for their flight patterns. I think there's just so many ways where they can do their signaling, through the satellites and all things within the air, right? So FCC, here and the airwaves and the signals that are there, you have to know that it's traceable and what is connecting, right? So that is another big blind spot I think that we have where it's not really coming forward. Do you have any comments on that in terms of how military aircraft, drones, and the types of signaling, like even submarine, uh, those type of signals, all of this that is involved, that is military related, that connect and contribute to the torture.
Well, I know there is websites for flight radar where you can see all the jets who are flying around you, and you can track them. But I think this is only for civil flights. This is not for the military, and also not for drones. So I don't know any website where you can see the flight of the drones. But there is something for the civil flights. Yeah, there are several websites for the civil flights. Maybe you find something like this for military, but I think military is kept very secret. They don't want you to know what is flying around you. This must be kept secret, yeah, and then they don't tell anybody. Yeah.
Yes, it's another thing that they keep mind to the public, for certain. There's just so many ways. It's like these networks. And I know that I've seen it, but I cannot find the app that they use. But it's almost like the signaling of, what, Wi-Fi and Bluetooth signaling is around like a targeted individual's area and home. I've seen pictures of it, but not the reference of the app. But it's almost like they build a barricade, like a parameter of all of the signaling around a targeted individual too, which is all part of how they can, use these technologies against us too in our homes. In this day and age, you just really cannot seem to live outside of the Bluetooth and the Wi-Fi, the wireless stuff. And then all of the appliances are becoming smart appliances too, and the smart meters. So here's just like a mesh network around you, and ways to amplify and project. And again, I'm still, trying to research on that end too. There's just so much to it. It's so advanced, and to digest it and articulate it. There's a lot of people doing studies on that. And let's see. There is Lenny 19 says lists military flights as NA. Okay. So that's something to look out for if you're doing apps and you see an NA, meaning that could be potentially the military flights.
Looks like, yeah.
Okay, here's WJ says, I screen recorded the EC-130s with the psychotic weapons doing circles above my neighborhood, along with the KC-46 used for refueling mid-air, which had the same flight pattern from Savannah Air Force Base. Well, that is good work.
Well, I have to say I have never seen, only one time, I've seen a drone, a big drone, maybe a police drone. Maybe it was 2 meters or something, and it flew very, very short above the car where I drove. And that was only that one time. But I think that was no coincidence that it flew so deep over the car. That was no coincidence. They did it by purpose to show us, okay, here is a drone.
Yeah, and then they do a lot of noise campaigns too around our area. It's just all of a sudden these random, very loud noises and things. They're all over the place in the things that they do to us. He follows up saying after his screen recording, they blocked his ability to view the military aircraft from the Flight Aware app. So he used Flight Aware app. So there's an app for people to try, but then he got blocked after he got that recording. Sarah is reaching out. She says that no one believes her and she doesn't know what she's supposed to do. I really encourage you, Sarah, to look at the content that is on Targeted Justice webpage. It'll help familiarize it's really a tough place, because that's when you're in isolation, when nobody believes you. And in the beginning, when this all happened to me, of course, the one that did believe me was my mother, and I was her caretaker. But if she still didn't quite understand it, but then they started to do it to her. And unfortunately, she, passed several years ago, and up until then, they were still attacking her with directed energy. But she and I were kind of like, a unit, knowing that most people don't understand this. There were several times when people got, the ones that do this got sloppy, and the wires got crossed, or communication signals, and people would come over to the house going, who is this group of people that are talking? Do you have a TV on in another room? So something happened in the house where the signaling that was meant for, either her or I to hear, they could hear. And so they knew the backstory of where this happened with me. But there are ways that, there's some guidance on that. We even had a handbook. I think I have a copy of that I could send you. You can email me at chosen_heroes, and it'll kind of give you the, the 411 on how you can articulate it. What I would say is, you can prove by saying that there's this whole community. TIevents.org is a good thing to show to somebody, that where all these meetings are organized. Go on to social media and just show the plethora. Show targeted justice newsletters and information. These are tangible ways that you can bring the visual and the actual to them, to understand that it's not just you that this is happening to. And that's where you can hopefully break down those walls and barriers that you are presented with presently with the disbelief. Harold, do you have some advice for Sarah?
Well, yeah, you can show the websites, you can show the videos, and also articles about Havana syndrome. Everything what is scientific, and what is a scientific proof of this. There are also many scientific articles from the past who show the influence of radiation to the human body, bioeffects of radiation to the human body, and so on. And this also helps if you show people what is going on, what frequencies can do to your body or to your mind. It helps to understand. Yeah. It's still not easy for the most, because this topic is too strange for them, too far away for them, so they don't understand. And they are the media and all the politicians and everybody told them their whole life, somebody who claims to be followed by strangers, somebody who claims to be attacked with microwaves, must be an ill person. And they learned this all their life long from everybody. And so it's not easy to break through the wall, but if you give them the right information, it makes it easier, of course. It's no guarantee that they will understand. There is never a guarantee, but if you try, give the right informations, people can understand. There is so much information outside, they can understand, but they don't want to understand it. That's the problem.
Yes, exactly. And she has also stated in additional follow-up comments that people in her town have mocked her and screamed things at her, and she's been denied medical help. So that's kind of all part of how this program is that that's what we call the street theater. So they have people that are, purposely trying to do that, and it's to invoke that fear, that, fight flight response in you, the paranoia that these things are happening, so that you do go out and you start reporting it to authorities, so that they can think that there's some unstableness. I mean, that's just all how it all works, and that's why it's so important to plug in with the community. There's so many good tips. There is a podcast, not a podcast, but a teleconference call on tievents.org tomorrow. If you have the auditory effect, it's Victory Through V2K. I would strongly encourage you to reach out there. There's always so many good people that join in on the call, and a lot of people right in at the beginning stage of what you're going through as well. There's so much help and support there. I think Harold was having some background interference, but we're wrapping up now because we're almost at the 2-hour mark. So
I'm sorry, I had to do something. So
no worries, no worries.
Okay, I'm back.
Okay, well, I was just telling everybody that we were going to wrap up. We've had some great comments here, and it, as always, stay strong, plug into the community, and you can get through this. We're all in it together. There's lots of resources out there on targetedjustice.com. There is the Targeted Justice newsletter. Targeted Justice is on also on X, is where a lot of information is. Substack has great articles and information. There's such a plethora of resources available on how you can understand the programming from these targeted, the program itself, and things that you can do to help be more secure in your environment, and to navigate the day-to-day, some shielding techniques. There's just so many countless hours of research and dedication that has gone into all of these communications. There are the podcasts as well. My whole library is on YouTube. It's on X. It's on Rumble. It has navigating. There's an episode navigating through the stages of being a targeted individual, the stages of being a targeted individual. It has some guidance there also. So, Harold, any parting words for our audience today?
Yes, I would like to say to the people, you should connect to other TIs. Don't stay alone. It's very much easier to live with it if you have other people who support you. Build networks also in your area, not only online. Build networks in real life. Meet other TIs. Do meetups. Start doing meetings on a regular basis, and also start to get active. Because if you keep your mouth shut, nothing will change. We can only have a change if we go out, bring the information out, get active, and start doing things. Don't sit at home and wait for somebody to save you, because nobody will come and save you. There will be nobody. Only yourself can save yourself. Yeah, only you can save yourself. If you go out, if you work together with others, you can help to solve the problem. This is what I have to say. And never give up, of course. Never give up. Sometimes it's very hard. Sometimes you get very lonely. Sometimes you get very depressed. But there will always be another day, and maybe the next day will be better. So never give up. There will be an end of this, and we will make it one day. Maybe not tomorrow, but one day this will come to an end. Yeah.
Absolutely. And, the squeaky wheel gets the grease. We have to use our greatest weapon, which is our voice. And we just have to make waves of awareness out so that the public knows about what is possible based off of these mannerisms of how they watch list us. Our voice is so strong. There is something so unique about us that caught the attention of these people, knowing that we're not easily swayed, that we have a voice, we have our independence, we have our morality. That's the thing. We're not the type that is just going to look the other way. A lot of times that right there alone can get you singled in. It could have crossed hairs with somebody that was well connected. There's so many ways. There's just so many ways. But know that regardless of the entry point, we're all in it together. And that is why right now we have to use our voice. We got to do the tracks in the sand. You've got to make sure that you have documented proof that you said that this was happening to you by writing your officials, keeping photocopies of the letter and the receipt that you received for the registered, certified mailings. Take the downloads from Targeted Justice, the flyers. You can distribute to those to non-believers. With the amount of subscribers that Targeted Justice has, which is well over 20,000 subscribers, and growing, and all the media, social media platforms. We have a voice, and we are making waves, and we have to hold those in power accountable for addressing the fact that they have allowed this to happen to us and have yet to do anything about it, regardless of whatever the reasons and how connected and who is connected to and all of that. They're probably stumbling over themselves going, oh, wait, okay, we got to do something about this, but how are we going to handle this without having complete mass chaos and pandemonium occurred when all of this other stuff has come out? And the thing of it is you've got to question everything, trust nothing, do your own research, right? That's what public should be doing. What they have taught us is that things have been portrayed to us that were not necessarily in alignment, and in some cases 100% away from the truth. So research, white papers, publications, scientific, universities that discuss all of this. There's plenty of videos out there on DARPA and the technology that they use for these kinds of programs. It's all out there. You can use that with your communications out to the public to give them something tangible that is credible. Interviews with key players within the military and within the government that has spoke on this, form the whistleblowers. You add that with your communication out there, it is, just so much more credible to the receiver of the information that had no idea that this existed. These are the ways that we fight this. This is the way that we get our voice out there and the way that we are heard. We can never relent on this. We have to keep the momentum going. And I appreciate everyone. And Harald, you have been just such a wonderful guest. And thank you for all that you do for the community and all the hard work and publications that you've done, your podcast. Everyone should reach out and think about it. Be a guest on Harald's podcast. Get your voice heard. Get your story heard.
Thank you, Melissa, for the opportunity to be here, for the chance, and I was very glad, and it really was a good show. Mm-hmm. You are a very good showmaster here, so to say, and I also wish you a lot of good guests in the future. Our listeners and viewers, maybe you want to be a guest in Melissa's show. You can tell about your story, about mm-hmm. your life, about your targeting. This is also important to have people on the show who are willing to tell what is going on, because many people are afraid, are shy, don't want to go public, but it's important to show what is going on. So thank you very much, Melissa, for this wonderful show. And bye-bye, everybody. Stay healthy, everybody.
Yes, everyone stay strong, and thank you. And until next Sunday, have a blessed rest of your evening, and God bless.